What's going on, guys? We are back. It's been a long time since I've made a video. We're here again, and we're gonna be talking about cinematography. I've done quite a lot since my last video in terms of growing my career, so I just want to share some of what I've learned. I have 10 steps here, and we're just gonna get into this right away. Number one would be education. I think it is so important that we are just always learning when it comes to film. I think learning is just the most important thing you could do. Education, whether that be watching YouTube videos, listening to podcasts, reading books, watching like behind the scenes of movies. I really like watching cinematography breakdown videos. You basically get film school for free. You just have to go on YouTube and do some searching. That's really all you have to pay for. For the first 3 years I did filmmaking, everything I learned was just from these YouTube videos. Just go ahead and look at the channels I have linked down below. Some of the ones that have helped me out the most would definitely be like Film Riot, Indie Mogul, The Buff Nerds, The Wandering DP, Felicia Smith. All these people are just really great at teaching cinematography and just sharing the knowledge that's kind of more like industry secrets, not so much out there, and it's helped me immensely. So that would be number one. So for number two here, we have lighting. Understanding lighting is single-handedly the most important thing that you can do to improve the quality of your work. There's so much to talk about with lighting that I could really make hour-long videos just explaining how all of it works, and I don't even know all that much there is about it. So really, it's just crazy in-depth topic that you could really talk about forever. I only started paying attention to lighting seriously in the last year, and in the time I've been doing that, the quality of my work has gone up drastically. Just taking the time to learn how it works, making sure that you stress that you get the lights that you need. It's just 100% like the most important thing to improve the quality of your work as a cinematographer. So the third thing I would say that's really important is that you should always bring on crew to your shoots, whether that's a producer, a first AC, gaffer, PAs. They all make a huge difference because you are able to focus on what you want to do as the director and DP for, these like independent projects, and it just helps everything flow much smoother. Be able to learn from them because everyone has their strengths and weaknesses, especially on set. I'll be on shoots and I'll hire roles that I'm not that good at because I know, they will really be able to explain it to me. They'll, give me the options like, this is what you can do. And it just helps you out. Like, just collaboration is really good. Next up, we have freelance versus independent contracting. Consider if you want to be a freelancer long-term, or if you want to be an independent contractor getting hired by agencies and production companies. Freelance method is really great if you want complete control of your shoots. I think most people start out doing this where you're just one-man band, whatever. Unfortunately, there are some drawbacks to this. The first drawback is that you'll be getting smaller budgets most likely, and this is because the clients that you're working with are hiring independent people. The companies who can pay big budgets usually go to the production companies because they feel that they'll get a better, more professional production. So I would keep that in mind. The second drawback is that it puts a ceiling on the type of work you can create and your income potential because you're just working with these smaller individuals or companies that aren't willing to cash out the big bucks and go the production company route. So I would just keep that in mind. Of course, you have a lot of control and you can make it however you want to, but that's just something I would keep in mind. A solution to this though would actually be to make your own production company. This can take a few different forms. I don't honestly know too much about this topic, but there are loads of videos on YouTube explaining, how to make your own production company, how to build a client base, get work, all that. Is kind of similar to being a freelancer, except, when you're leading your production company. So it's a bit more official and, you can just build it up to get the kind of clients you want. I don't have any plans of doing this currently, but I'm always keeping my mind open to potentially doing this in the future because I can see how it can actually make you even more money than being an independent contractor. It's kind of a touchy thing. You could go into that quite a bit. We'll save that for some other time. The next thing that I would say is super important is that you want to be willing to work on other people's sets. Now this applies whether you want to be a freelancer long-term or if you want to become an independent contractor. You'll be able to better communicate with the people that you'll be in charge of because you know how those roles work, and you'll be able to execute the position if for some reason they're not able to fulfill that. You're also going to connect with the people working those sets If you work hard and overachieve, the higher ups will see what you're doing, and that will give you potential future opportunities to work with them again. Now, if you do work hard and overachieve on this, the people that you're working with will be really likely to ask you what role you want to do in the future. And of course, in our case, you want to be a DP. But I wouldn't recommend saying that. I would say camera department. You know, maybe they'll bring you back as a camera PA or a second AC. This has happened to me before. Now, the reason for this is that everyone wants to be a DP. Depending on where you are already, this may be different. If you already do have a really extensive DP reel, then of course you probably could get brought on as a DP, but otherwise just take camera department and you can start working your way up. Now, the next thing that I would really recommend is to set short-term and long-term goals, whether this is, where you want to go in your career or the type of gear you want to get. List all the gear you want to get and just order it out in its importance. Start saving up your money. Don't go out and buy coffees all the time. Save up that cash. Get the freaking red Epic 8K. Get that, baby. I'm just kidding. Save up and take out what you want to do accordingly. Just think about the kind of projects you want to do and list that out accordingly for how you want to build out your rig. Personally, for me, my next goals is to get some better glass. I want to get a better tripod. Down the road, I want to get a better follow focus system, maybe something wireless, like a Teradek, wireless video transmitter. So those are kind of my goals for gear. And then eventually down the road, of course, I want to upgrade my camera, maybe a Red or I don't know, an Alexa. Mini LF is the dream right now. Hopefully we can make that happen. If you're wondering, right now we're using the Blackmagic Pocket 4K. I got it about, a few months before they announced the Pocket 6K. I really like Super 35 sensors. The Micro Four Thirds still works great if you're wondering, but it's just a personal preference. You get more shallow depth of field and I just like it better, but it is double the price, so never mind, that's a bit off topic. Anyways, if you're trying to shoot some documentary stuff, then I would get, a versatile cinema camera, some zoom lenses, just something that can easily be operated with one person. If you're trying to shoot mostly like commercials, music videos, then I would go for a rig that is a little bit more favorable to those circumstances when you're on a set and you're working with a crew. You can build out your rig a bit more, have more technical pieces of gear, and just be able to focus on it a little bit more specially because you have that crew, that infrastructure to help that happen. So the second thing that I would set short-term and long-term goals for is just your career, where you want to take that. For me, short-term, I'm trying to do music videos and commercial stuff. Long-term, my dream is to shoot narratives. So what I'm doing now is just really working on the music videos, and I'm trying to get into commercials. So just kind of think how you want to execute that. Now, you can't always pick the kind of work that you get as a freelancer or a contractor, because you just need to make money, and you can't always just, I'm only gonna shoot this, because usually that will not work out too well for you unless you're already getting a ton of that type of work. But one thing you can do is to just promote the type of work that you want people to know you for. Now, kind of feeding into promoting the kind of work that you want to do is my next tip, which is to have an online presence. Developing your website, your Instagram, a reel, all of these things are super important to build out your online presence so people can see what you're doing and get interested, and it's just great like that. For my website, I use Squarespace. This is not sponsored. I wish it was, right? So the fastest way to get noticed is to build up that online presence. So a great way to do this is to put out Instagram stories, either being funny, entertaining, or putting out something that explains what you're doing, specifically like on set, explaining like lighting setups or your camera rig, something like that. It's a great way to bring value to people, and that's a good reason for them to watch you and to follow you, whatever. Build up your presence even more. You should also just engage with people on your Instagram. I'm talking about Instagram specifically because that's what's most common now. You should like posts, share, on your story, comment, whatever, because that just, lets people see you're also engaging with them, so they'll be more likely to engage with you. Now, this is pretty subjective, but I only like to follow the kind of people that I want to be like. It's so easy to be influenced by a million different things now with the internet. So for me, I just follow cinematographers. I follow cinematography pages, all these pages specifically about filmmaking, because that's what I want to learn about. So the next thing that I would recommend is that you should always rent out gear when you're doing shoots. Don't just use your own. There are a few reasons for this. The biggest one is that you're just able to improve the quality of the work you're making, and that is obviously immeasurable. I would also recommend that in certain cases, it might be smart to even cut your own rate and invest that back into gear. When you do this, you can boost your career long term because you're improving the quality of your work right off the bat, and that will attract bigger clients or production companies who are able to pay even more money. So it's really just kind of a hack to speed things up and get better work. Just cut your own rate. Obviously, you need to make money, so this is also quite subjective, but just if you think it will be worth it. No, they'll think, like you're pulling in bigger budgets, so they'll say, oh, well, he's doing a similar budget to what we're doing, when in reality, you're getting a smaller budget, but it just looks like you're shooting something bigger. So for example, the last music video I shot had quite a small budget, but just with how I did things, I was able to make it look like a much higher than what it really was, and that helped me out immensely, and it also helped out the artist immensely. Like I said earlier, lighting is the most important part of making something look good. So understand what lighting equipment does what, and then rent that out accordingly for your shoots. Now, a good camera is obviously important, but be sure to get just what works best for your production. Like I said earlier, I have a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. It's a big name. So I usually just use this because it does just as well as most RED cameras. Now, obviously, this can be very subjective, so in a lot of cases, it may be better to go with the RED camera just because it is already built out more. But for the smaller budgets, this usually works great. Now, what I would recommend as a rule of thumb to follow here is to just make sure you have the budget for good lighting and for a good crew. And then once that's out of the way, then definitely invest in your camera setup. Now, I would say this is right up there with the most important things you could do, and that would just to be take notes. This is pretty simple. Just after every shoot, write down everything you learned because it's just really the best way to remember something. And for me, I write down notes after every shoot I do. If I'm working under someone, I'll ask them, hey, how did I do? How can I improve in the future? And it just shows great initiative on your part, and you also are just learning. So I would definitely recommend doing that. Now, the last thing for this video is just hard work. Now, this applies to anything if you want to be successful, not just cinematography. You need to work hard. Don't halfway do something. If you're gonna do it all the way. Go 110% with your effort. You're not the only person out here with the same goals, so you really need to go above and beyond to stand out. The only thing that separates a novice from a pro is that the pro worked hard and worked their butt off to make it happen. It's really just as simple as that. The simplest way to be successful is to work hard. Obviously, this isn't gonna work unless you have the desire to succeed. So I guess if that's a bonus tip, just have the desire to succeed. If you don't, then find another career. I mean, there's totally nothing wrong with that. Cinematography is very difficult, and you really just have to love it for it to work for you. That's my personal opinion. So that's all I have for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. It took almost an hour to record this thing, so that is going to be so much fun editing. So if you found this helpful and if you learned something, be sure to drop a like on this video. It will really help out this video's engagement with the algorithm. It will help more people to see this, and it will push this video to a wider audience. So if you found this insightful, be sure to drop a like, and just thank you guys for watching all the way to the end. Again, like I said, and just have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.